Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Wakar Kadash. Double honors to the elders, apostles, a great millstone, preaching this word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching this word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim that be like unto the speckled bird, preaching this word truthfully, faithfully, and sincerely. I say shalom to you, Akim, out there, and this is another news article in the news on this April the 26th, 2022, on this Tuesday afternoon. And this is a news article from RT.com, and it reads, Syrian claims Israeli missiles over Damascus. Explosions were heard over the Syrian capital in the early hours of Wednesday, as Damascus accused Tel Aviv of another attack. And this is a little photo caption, missiles flying into the sky near Damascus, Syria. Multiple explosions were heard over Damascus shortly before 1 a.m. local time on Wednesday, with the Syrian media accusing Israel of yet another missile attack. Tel Aviv has not officially commented on the claim, but Israel has repeatedly attacked what is said were Iranian assets inside Syria, claiming preeminent self-defense. Syrian air defense was confronting Israeli aggressions in the sky over Damascus, the state news agency SANA reports on Wednesday. No further details were immediately available. There were unconfirmed reports that at least half a dozen missiles had been fired into Syrian territory, and at least two got through the air defense. A big explosion was reported in the rural area of the Damascus province, northwest of the capital. Slovakia. It says the Israel Defense Force, the IDF, has not officially acknowledged the attack. However, Tel Aviv rarely does so, and has mentioned it has the right to bomb Syria in self-defense, citing the Iranian military presence in the neighboring country. Damascus has condemned these attacks and the acts of aggression in violation of the Syrian sovereignty. Israel War Room, the nonprofit based in the U.S., said that the Israeli aviation was engaging in targeting defense airstrikes against Iranian assets in and around Damascus, adding Slovakia on that one, engaging in targeting in defense airstrikes against Iranian assets in and around Damascus, adding that Israel has a right to defend its borders and against the buildup of Iranian military hardware and proxy terrorists. It says Tehran has a Shia Hezbollah military has both backed the Syrian government against the Islamic State, formerly known as ISIS, and Turkish-backed jihadists affiliated with Al-Qaeda, which has sought to overthrow the government in Damascus since 2011. With Syria operating a number of Russian air defense systems, Israeli jets usually fire missiles from Lebanese airspace or launch from their positions in the dispute Golan Heights. Pictures are getting better. There's no doubt about it. The actual metrics that pitchers use and everything they use to quantify what hitters are doing, I think, is having an effect. And it's pretty clear. I mean, we've talked about it in the sense of the warning track power for the Sox, that the ball isn't
I think it definitely will change. You get weather where it's consistently above 60 degrees, the ball's just going to travel. It's going to
This is the
progress.
book of Luke, chapter 21, verse 9. But when ye shall hear of wars and commotions, be not terrified, for these things must come to pass, but the end is not by and by. Right, because you're gonna constantly and continuously hear of, even though these nations been having long disputes, which it relates to war with each other for a long time, and you're gonna have long commotions between the nations and different kingdom against one another. Especially in relates to wars, especially with the wars and rumors of wars increasingly in the last days. Because you're gonna have nations accusing one another of war type related, you know, over their lands and borders of missile attacks against one another. They're gonna accuse one another, and that goes into rumors of wars because you're gonna hear a lot of things that's warlike related between the nations, and it's gonna be a rumor. And then times with these nations going against each other on an everyday basis, which you hear these things in the news, which becomes a rumor of war and it becomes a reality as well too, because you're gonna have a lot of increase of these wars, rumors of wars in the news. And I'm gonna bring out this again for edification's sake, for the sit down lesson. This is the book of Luke, chapter 21, verse 9, in the Holy Scriptures, and it reads, "But when ye shall hear of wars and commotions, be not terrified, for these things must come to pass, but the end is not by and by." Right, because the end is not yet, because more prophecies are coming, and more prophecies are being fulfilled, right before our eyes as we see these things in the news. Because, this is prophecies are happening around the world globally, especially with the increase of the wars and rumors of wars. And that been increasingly a lot lately, and the nations rise against nations. That been increasing a lot as well too. So you're gonna hear more of these wars and rumors of wars, and the nations going against one another as well too. So this was a news article in the news that I just brought out, and relates to the Syrian claims Israeli missiles over Damascus. So I'm just bringing this out, and it shows you examples like this. You're gonna hear more of increase of the wars and rumors of wars, and the nations should rise against nations as well too. And you should hear a lot of wars and commotions in the last days, and it's gonna further increase. So with that, I hope this was edifying through the spirit, power, grace, and mercy of Yahweh Yahushua. And first and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shah Ba'Hashem, Rakar Kadash. Double honors to the elders, apostles of Great Millstone, preaching this word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching this word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, that be like unto the speckled bird, preaching this word truthfully and sincerely. And until next time, I will say shalom in the Baba Ball.